Hi, I'm Christy. Welcome to Weird and Witchy Shit, a place for, well, weird and witchy shit. Here we talk about everything from the magic of yoga, rituals, tarot, crystals, astrology, self-love, mental health, spiritual stuff, spooky things, and anything of the mystical variety. So if that sounds like the kind of shit you're into, then you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the coven. Ostara is a pagan holiday that celebrates the spring equinox. This comes at a time when the day and the night are of equal lengths. We're moving out of the cold, dark winter into more nice, warm, sunny, hopefully, springtime. I say that as it currently snows right outside my window. So traditionally, Ostara is celebrated on the 20th of March, but depending on where you are in the world, it could fall on the 19th or the 21st, so you should just check that depending on whereabouts it is that you are. And this is due to the Earth's actual rotation round the sun not quite lining up with the Georgian calendar that we typically would use. Not the Georgian calendar, the Gregorian calendar. Honestly, I will tell you, I wasn't even going to record this episode today because my brain is literally like fucking soup. I'm a couple of days away from my period and I have just absolute soup brain today. I am not good for this world. Is that even a saying? And if you celebrate the Christian holiday Easter, where I live, even if you're not a Christian, it's pretty common to still celebrate Easter, even if it's nothing to do with religion in any way. I guess it's just a time to have a roast dinner and chocolate eggs. But if you do celebrate Easter, then you might have Ostara to thank for the iconic Easter bunny. And you know me, I absolutely love a bit of mythology. It makes me feel really connected to holidays if I know the deities and mythology behind it. So let's get into it. Ostara is a German goddess of the dawn. She is often associated with femininity, fertility, and she is known as the bringer of spring. And I found this super cool, but she is actually where we get the word estrogen from, which, cool. Feminine as fuck. She is often depicted as being very beautiful and having long, red, flowing hair. And speaking of hair, one of her most common stories is that of Ostara and the hair. Hair as in the mammo, not the hair on your head, but I'm sure you got it. So Ostara, much like me, absolutely loves to have a lie-in, so one year she done exactly that, and the winter was dragging on a bit longer than it probably should have been, so lots of the animals had already started to come on out, expecting there to be sunshine, but they were met with cold. So when Ostara finally got up from her sleep and she was going about to go and bring the warmth of spring back into the world, she noticed by a nearby tree a teeny tiny little sparrow bird laying face down in the cold snow, frozen to death. Ostara was filled with so much guilt because she knew that this little bird had probably died because it was relying on her bringing the spring with her on time. So she held the little bird up to her face, breathed her warm spring breath into him and transformed him into a hare. So now he wasn't so frail and dainty as he was as a sparrow. He was fast and strong as the beautiful white hare. But even though he was a hare, he did manage to keep a little nod to his past of being a bird, and he had the ability to lay eggs, and actually more specifically bright, colourful, beautiful eggs that every springtime he would come and lay around in nature in honour of Ostara, hence the connection to the Easter bunny. And it's actually really weird because, come to think about it, I don't think I've ever questioned in my life why it was a bunny bringing eggs to you on Easter. This video might be the very first time that I'm ever questioning this. And I always knew that the Christian story behind it was like the angel rolled the stone away and all of that, like when like the rebirth of Jesus and all of that. But still, I never quite understood where rabbits came into it. But as you probably know, a lot of Christian holidays are derived from pagan roots. Anyway, as cute a story as this was, you know that in mythology it always gets a little bit weird. Like people, like gods and goddesses just can't be fucking normal. In some versions of the story, Ostara turned the sparrow into the hare and then took the hare as her lover for some strange reason, but then she got so tired of the hare being unfaithful to her all the time, which I don't agree with infidelity in any way, but I think if you choose to take a hare as your partner, then I feel like you have to take some responsibility for that yourself. Anyway, Ostara became so enraged by the hare that she took him and she cast him away into the sky, and he became the constellation Lepus, which you can find right underneath Orion. And this is actually nothing to do with anything, and it is just to do with Orion, but when I was younger, from my bedroom window you could always see Orion outside, and I would always look at him and I would always think, I wonder if anybody's ever noticed that really cool constellation of stars there, because the way they're lined up looks really cool. I wonder if anybody out there's noticed that. There is a lot of back and forth about the actual origins of Ostara, the goddess, and whether she really is an ancient deity or she's a more modern goddess. To me, it actually doesn't really matter. I know a lot of people would only choose to worship or give offerings to a goddess if she was a more ancient goddess. For me, it's more about if I just really connect with them. Some gods and goddesses I do, some gods and goddesses I don't. And I think anyway, if you don't practice any kind of deity worship or anything like that, you can just enjoy the stories for what they are, which is really fun retellings of the mystical things out there in the world, and it kind of puts them into a more fun story-like perspective rather than just being dull and boring. And with the gods, some people think of them as actual things, like actual people, like this is like a god or goddess who exists or did exist, and other people tend to think of it more as just like a personification for everyday events. Like it's way cooler to think that there's a god that controls like jealousy and narcissism and love and sex and all of that, just because some of the stuff in the world is just unexplained, so a story just makes it a lot cooler. So that is how a lot of people just view the gods, that they're more like an energy type being, and some people view them as an actual being. In my opinion, it is no right or wrong, it's entirely personal to you, whatever you think. It's your life and I'm not your real mum, so do what you want. So when it comes to celebrating Ostara, what can you actually do? So you can plant seeds. This can be literally out in your garden. Go and plant new seeds that are going to bloom in the summer or in the late spring. If you're like me and maybe you stay in a flat, you might want to prune and repot all of your plants, would also be a really nice option. Or you can get some wildflower seeds that are dead easy. You literally just take to like a patch of soil or grass somewhere and sprinkle them out in the wild, and then you know that you're doing good for wildlife. But as well as planting actual physical seeds and plants in the ground, it might be a good time to plant seeds for things that you want to manifest in your life, get projects kind of moving and stuff, because we are building up into more of this springtime energy, and in the summer things will really start kicking off. So this is a really good time to plant little seeds of inspiration for what you want to come into fruition later on. And this is actually a really good one to do along with the planting the seeds. Like, you can think of your intention and plant the seeds at the same time, kind of like a little mini green witch ritual kind of thing. Dead easy, and something that I kind of think is like a very entry level type spell that you can do. And even if you're definitely not into any kind of magic, but you are into like the law of attraction or anything like that, doing something like this and maybe a plant that you can actually watch growing, or if you are not going to watch it growing, you're just going to send it out there into the universe. You know that the universe is growing the plant as it grows your intention, and that can be a really nice metaphor for whatever. You could clear out your space and your energy. You know, people are often talking about a spring clean. It really is a good time for a fresh start. So clear out the clothes that you don't use anymore, clear out anything from your house that you no longer need, go through your social media and clear out things that you don't need, people that you don't actually like, accounts that make you feel shit and negative. Just honestly get rid of it all. Clear it all out. You could also clear out some mental clutter by journaling, focusing on meditation. And it would be a really good time to reevaluate and revamp your day-to-day routines. So maybe you are ready to come out of your more winter mode and you're ready to change your habits and routines slightly to fit the season. So this might be doing workouts that are a little bit more fast paced. It might be changing your work schedule or your sleep schedule, maybe waking up a little bit earlier. Honestly, like, only you are going to know what kind of routine is going to fit in with your life. So often as well, we think of like January 1st as the perfect time for a fresh start, just because that's what the calendar says. But there are actually many times throughout the year that could be considered a fresh start. Even the start of the astrological calendar starts again in March, so that would technically be the beginning of the year in terms of that. So it really just depends on your perspective on things, and really you can decide to change your life right now if you wanted to. Like, you don't need to wait till tomorrow, you don't need to wait till Monday, you don't need to wait till Ostara or 2024. You can choose to start right now. But I just love little things like this and kind of moving with the seasons and kind of planning my life around the seasons in that way, and then you kind of feel like you're living more at one with nature, being a little bit more chill and quiet in the winter. As spring comes along, starting to liven myself up during the summer, I'm probably going to be feeling pretty sociable and stuff, and then in the autumn things will start to kind of cool off, chill out and get slightly cozier again. So wherever you are, however you celebrate, I hope that you enjoy this spring equinox and Ostara, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can get me on Instagram at Christys_coven. That's KRISTYS_coven. You can also find me on YouTube at Christys Coven, where I post a lot of free yoga classes and shit like that. And I'd love to have you join, because it's not a coven if it's just me. And until next time, bye!